time for Lykken on Lending.
Welcome, everybody. Good to have you with us.
Welcome to Lykken on Lending, a weekly mortgage market update providing up-to-the-minute information on interest rates, loan programs, and hot industry news, all related to the mortgage industry. Brought to you by Transformational Mortgage Solutions. To participate in today's program, our guest call-in line is 646-716-4972. Now here's your host of Lykken on Lending, David Lykken.
Let's begin.
Folks, I'm excited to have Jen Plessis joining us today. And Jen, you're dressed up like a doctor, so we're excited. That's appropriate. You've got your lab coat on, your doctor coat on. We're going to get into fixing some things because there's a lot of loan officers out there, originators running around very, very, I'm going to say sick in the way they're thinking about the market, sick that they're not making more income, sick a lot of things are just not working like they did last year. And when they do that, they go to the doctor. And what do we have today? We've got Jen, who fixes and helps so many originators do well. Jen, so good to have you here on the podcast. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome. Well, we were talking about this in the green room. I said, I look like I have a lab coat on, so we're swinging with this. You're going to call me Dr. Mortgage or something today. I'm doing great. I'm so delighted to be here today.
Well, it was fun being on your podcast last week or the week before, and I'm just thrilled with the relationship we developed. You truly help a lot of people. So for those that may not know who you are, give us a brief background on yourself, Jen, and again, what you're most passionate about. What are you about today? Talk about that, please. Background and your passion.
Yeah, thank you so much. So I have been in the mortgage and financial space for 4 decades now. I can't believe it when I say that. 4 decades now. And so I was in, had all kinds of positions in the industry, but was an originator for the last 20 years, maybe 16, 17 of that. And during that time, I was in the top 200 loan officers in the country. I've funded over $1 billion in loans. And, and then that just manifested into me now coaching loan officers. I also run masterminds for small business owners, salespeople, entrepreneurs that aren't in the mortgage space. And I am known as the Impact Mentor. I am a leading expert. Well, thank you. I am the leading expert in creating world-class teams so that people can get their lives back. And that's exactly what I do in both of these modalities of coaching and mentoring loan officers, as well as conducting the masterminds. And of course, I'm an international speaker and 14-time #1 best-selling author, 2 podcasts, and TV host and producer of my own television show called Tell Me I Can't.
I love it. I love that title of that TV show too. And we'll put links, if you could provide us, Jen, with all the links to all of that, so our listeners can check out any aspect of all that you do. You're a busy person in 4 decades in the industry. We share that together. I'm almost coming up on completing my 5th decade. It's hard to imagine being in the industry for 50 years, but I'm at that point, 49, and as this year and next year we'll be right up there. So, but it's good to talk to someone who has been there, done that T-shirt experience. We're experiencing a market that is really costly for some challenges. Now, many are saying this is not like any other market. There have been market cycles for all 4 decades. You and I have been in this industry together. There's been all these market decades. But how would you characterize this market as opposed to the other corrections and difficult markets in the past? How would you characterize that, Jen, in your words?
Yeah, I mean, both you and I've been through a lot of ups and downs, for years and years, and there have been challenges. Whenever interest rates rise, of course, it's a challenge, and we have inflation, and so everything's just come to a halt. I think when we compare it and measure it against what we just experienced through the pandemic, this is why we see that why we're stressed about it, why we're freaking out about it, is because we feel that this is, a big dramatic change. Well, it is from what it was. But when we think about, historical rates and how markets have changed, during that period of time, this is just another market. It's the gap that's freaking us out about this. And it's also that for the last 20 years, we've been spoiled. We have been spoiled with low interest rates. I'm coaching clients right now that have been in the business for 15, 20 years, which by all intents purposes says they're a veteran, right?
Yeah.
But they've never, ever sold an adjustable rate mortgage. They don't know what blended rate is. When we ask, what are the Fed's fund rate? They try to give me the number and I'm saying, but what is it? What is it? And so there's a lack of industry and market knowledge in what I'm seeing right now. And that is creating fear. And I'm expressing to my clients that now is the time for you to hone in on these skills so that you can be the voice of reason for everyone else.
I agree with you that this cycle is really not that much different than the previous cycles. But what's so unique is how long the last cycle lasted. And then the stark contrast from the just more volume than we could digest to what seems like no volume. There's still actually volume going on, but there is a lot of pain that's going on in the marketplace. So let's get to the solution, Dr. Jen, with you wearing your doctor jacket. There, we'll continue with that. So what is the prescription? What are you recommending for those that are really struggling with this market, struggling with success? Let's start with abroad. Is there a magic bullet out there that you recommend, or what is it?
Well, there's not a magic bullet, but I do have some comments, and it's funny that you say that because, in sales, there's that phrase we always use is that a prescription without diagnosis is not good. I can't remember. It's so long that I've heard this, but you mentioned that. So I want to play on that again. But, right when COVID started, the pandemic started, you can go back to every speaking opportunity I was on, even on my own podcast, I was saying, be aware of short-term gain for long-term pain. I kept saying that over and over, short-term gain for long-term pain. And I was encouraging people. Yeah. Everybody was saying, oh, I'm having my best year ever. And I said, well, the market's giving it to you. Are you having it because you have the right foundation in your practice? And while I was excited for everyone just kind of was walking around, all proud of themselves. And I was really concerned because I've seen it before. I've seen it so many times. I was really concerned that, that they had this false sense of security that, I'm a top producer, I'm doing really well, I'm doing all that. But I also realized that, thank goodness people were calling you. Because most people didn't have a system that warranted, them calling the clients. And so a lot of people left money on the table because they didn't have the proper systems to get even more. And this is where I kept saying, just be careful, be careful. I wanted everybody to be successful. I wanted everyone to do a lot of business, but I kept saying, make sure you're putting the systems in place. And if we go back to that time frame, we go back to the feeling that everyone had. They were working unbelievable hours, sitting in their home, stressed out, no time for family. And I kept seeing, that the reason that they were like this was because they didn't have the foundation and the systems in place. Because who had that, who had already developed that, they just manifested more and they did exponentially better than everyone else.
It's good.
So that's my initial take on that. Yeah.
Let's talk about the systems you're recommending. When you're talking about systems that people should have set up or needed to set up, and because I'm finding this common denominator, those that are succeeding in this market, and there are people that are actually prospering in this market. They're having to work harder, no question, but they have a system. Is this what you're also seeing? Those that had developed processes, is that, and if so, love to get your insights on what processes are working better than others.
Yes and no. So I'm going to answer this in a couple different ways. First of all, there's something that I mentor my clients on is something called the 4 stages of growth. There's formulation, concentration, momentum, and stability. Now, if you look this up online, there's actually 5 stages. The 5th stage is success. And I feel like that's not a destination. It's a journey, right? We've all heard that statement before. So when you've hit stability, now it's just time to go to the next levels, time to formulate new things, concentrate on new things to continue to scale your business. So if you think about this, if the scale, right, on the low side, it's formulation and concentration, and then goes up to momentum, and then stability kind of flattens out.
Right.
What happened when we were in the pandemic is that everyone was thrust into momentum. So they're up there high and all that stuff. Everything's going really well. And then when the market changed, they dropped all the way down back to formulation because they didn't have perhaps those systems in place to keep the momentum going. They had not formulated systems. They had not formulated relationships, formulated a multitude of things, their messaging to make them different. They were just another one, maybe someone who answered the phone for a client, and that's how they got the business. So when I think about this, yes, systems are really, really important. But I think it begins with right now honing in on your sales skills, honing in on your relationship skills. It's not the same. And if we akin this to what we talk about at realtors all the time, right? Yeah, all they have to do is open the door and they sell the house. They don't have to really sell. Well, the same thing was true for us. All we had to do was answer the phone and we could make money. And now we have to hone in on our sales skills. So I don't feel there's a magic bullet. What I feel is that we need to really focus, as I mentioned before, on educating ourselves and improving our personal growth in the arena of understanding the market. What is inflation? What is recession? What are historical pieces of this? What is, as I said before, blended interest rate, because most people don't get it. What is effective interest rate? Because that's going to pop up now. What are adjustable rate mortgages? And honing in on those skills to be able to deliver something to the client that is different and unique and still solves the problem that they are seeing in today's market. So relationship development.
Yeah, let's talk about it, because you were just talking about product knowledge. And there's a lot of people that's been 30-year fixed when it was as low as it was. Why did you need to have knowledge of all these other products that we have used over the years? But now we're back in those markets where you have to have that market now. So that's one skill set that could be defined, I guess, as the process of knowing products, varying products, knowing how to sell and market those products in there. But the skill of relationship development, there's a lot of people that get paralyzed because of what's happening, and they're ceasing the relationship part of it. Talk to that group or those that are struggling with that. What are you saying to them today?
Well, I think again, the issue really stems from the fact that a lot of loan officers, and listen, I know if you're listening, if you're doing really well, I'm not condemning what you're doing. I'm not saying that. But there are so many and I can just tell you from my experience, I've coached over 5,000 loan officers. So I know what the trend is. The trend is meet with, go to a networking event, get a business card, bug the crap out of them to get an appointment, and then show up at the appointment and show up and throw up and then never meet them again because I already said everything and I'm afraid to call them. That's the bottom line. And, so what needs to happen is if you truly want relationships, I need better relationships with realtors. I need better relationships with financial advisors, plumbers, whoever they are, right? I need better relationships and I need to provide value. Well, have you sat down and thought about what does the relationship look like? What is value? What truly is value? And I think where we're falling short right now is I always say we, like I'm still in this business as an originator. But what we're doing is we're saying, well, I'm struggling. If I'm struggling, how can I possibly help someone else who's struggling? And this is where what's so important is for us to get in this boat together, because we can go further with 2 oars than we can with one. And if we isolate ourselves, it's not going to work.
Yeah. We had Jessica Peterson on talking about some of the calls that she's using. Jessica, we love Jessica. What a dime. See, she called me. It was over 4th of July weekend. She goes, or actually it was leading up to it. She said, Dave, what is going on out there? You've got to get out there and talk to these people, these loan officers. They're calling me. They're not adding value. They're just give me business. Right. It's that old just banging on the door, what you say. And that is just the worst way to go about a relationship. She talked about that. Or had her on the 4th of July. And, she compliments you really well, because what you're helping loan officers bring is value. And that is the
Mhm.
key to developing a relationship. What are some of the things, a value add that you're finding that was working better or more successfully in this market when you're coaching some of your loan originators?
Well, I mean, I think it starts from identifying and knowing what your role is in the relationship. And I talk about this. There are 4 roles that I talk to. I actually feel these 4 roles, and I mentor this for others, right? So for other people in different businesses and industries as well. And I feel that the 4 roles are that you're a growth consultant, number 1, then you're a strategic partner, and those 2, and I'm just going to stop there because there's 4 of them, but those 2 specifically are in the marketing perspective. The other 2 are fulfillment. Okay, so we're talking about marketing now and getting business. So you should be going into every meeting with every referral partner that you have, looking at how you could be a growth consultant for them. What are their challenges? What are their goals? Who do they want to be connected with? What can you help with them right now? How would you be able to identify a client if you were talking to them, for them to be able to refer to them? All of these lines of questioning start creating and adding value for individual real estate agents. So I know that one of the challenges realtors are having right now is I need more listings. And most of us would say, well, I only know buyers, I don't know listings. And I created a proprietary system for listings that we help real estate agents get more listings. And, but you have to ask the question, what are you challenged with? Not gimme, gimme, gimme. This is not a gimme, gimme. This is, establishing and setting expectations about how the relationship's going to go, what kind of results you want out of it, and really asking yourself a lot of questions. We tend to walk away from meetings giving ourselves a virtual high five because we thought the meeting went really well, but then we sit by our phone and wait and say, how come I'm not getting the phone call? Because all you did was talk. You didn't ask them what you could do to help their business go forward. So that's the first part. The second part is a strategic partner. It's not just meeting them, having, talking a ton and never doing anything else, but rather saying, okay, so now that I know where you want to grow and where your challenges are, I want to be able to help you and be a strategic partner. That means that we meet on a frequent basis. I help you resolve that problem. I work with you so that we both can gain from that. And then we'll find another challenge that we can duplicate and do that all over again so that we can continue to roll on to that relationship year after year after year, because as you grow, new challenges and new goals and new opportunities come your way.
What are you anticipating as far as the future for our industry and for the people that are here? How long do they have to wait before they're going to start seeing the markets come back? Any ideas of Jen's crystal ball?
Well, we thought, statistically, based on all it's not just product knowledge, it's market knowledge too. The MBA and Fannie and Freddie, everybody, the GSEs were saying, here's what's going to happen. We're going to have, rates peak, and then we're going to have them come down a little bit later in the year. And given the fact that the feds have now said, hey, it's not working the way we want, we're going to have a couple more, not just the one. I think we're probably not going to see rates start dropping until next spring. And we'll all hopefully manifest that. Let's start manifesting that so that our spring market is just super and incredible and it goes the right way, which means that you use this time to dig in and to learn as much as you can, educate your real estate agents on what's happening in the market, pick up the phone and contact your clients and to help them, again, be the voice of reason and help them. I think that it's about, I always say this too, are you nurturing or neglecting your community? And so many loan officers are neglecting because they're frozen themselves, as you said before.
Yeah. When you're talking about nurturing, give us a couple of quick tips and then we got to wrap this up. Man, I love talking.
Yeah.
What are some nurturing tips that you're recommending right now?
Yeah. So I call it the Heisman Trophy method, right? And so if you envision a Heisman Trophy, right, it's like, no, I really don't want you. I have my ball. I don't really want you. And so the visual is no, you're pushing people back. So what I don't like is the digital communication. You know, a lot of clients of mine will say, well, I'm sending them stuff. I'm sending them a birthday card. I'm sending them a holiday. I'm sending them canned, newsletters and whatnot. And while I love those systems and it's a great way, and I encourage people to use them, it can't stop there. You have acres and acres of diamonds that you're standing on. They've fallen from the sky over the last 3 years. You have acres of diamonds sitting below you. Each diamond can create a ripple in your entire practice. So take off the binoculars and dig deep into what you already have to move forward to nurture them. Touch base with them. Let them know you're thinking about them. Ask them if they have questions about what's happening. Encourage them to consider HELOCs right now, right? Encourage them to consider a cash out refinance. They're going to refinance anyway, right? Because rates are higher, but get the equity out now. Get the equity out now from the property to help them build wealth, pay off debt, have extra cash. This is what nurturing is. Find out what their needs are, your clients, just as much as your referral partners. They own businesses. They have goals. They have challenges. They want to have connections. Do all of that with them as well. Really be in front of them. And I'll end with this, if you're not in front of your clients or your potential clients, your competition is, I promise. They're probably in front of them a different way, but they're in front of them. So you should have that fire underneath you every morning to communicate with as many people as you can.
Great points. I got a feeling there's just a whole lot more content that you could just give out.
Yeah.
So which means they got to go to your website. They got to go to your different sources. What's the best way for people to reach you? Jen, what would you prefer?
Yeah, well, the best way to reach me is to text Jen, Jen, to 26786. Just text Jen to 26786, and you'll get invited into all of our community and all of the activities that are going on. Literally every week, every Tuesday and Thursday, I have a 1-hour webinar on this very topic called Intro to Income. Because we get introduced, but it doesn't work its way to income. So I have that every Tuesday. We have a big event coming up November 1st through the 4th in Northern Virginia called, I was going to say Luminate. Oh, I've got all kinds of things going on, but Limitless, the Limitless workshop, where we're going to explore all aspects of businesses, whether you're a lender, a realtor, an attorney, it doesn't matter. We're going to be sharing that with all kinds of business owners. So we'd love to have you come to that. So we'll provide you with a link for that as well.
Perfect. Jen, thanks so much for taking time out of your busy day to be here with us. It's a real joy to just spend some time with you and then share your knowledge and wisdom with our listening audience. Have a great rest of your day. Look forward to having you back.
You've been listening to Lykken on Lending, a weekly mortgage market update with your host, David Lykken of Transformational Mortgage Solutions. Join us next week, and thanks for listening.